This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's Pod, the show for the week of January 12th, 2026. And no, you're not watching last week's episode, as I realize I'm wearing the same sweater I was wearing last week.
It's your podcasting sweater.
Yeah, this is, you know what I was thinking about it? Like, this is like, I love this sweater. And it's like, I just get in different colors. I could just like change it up like every week.
If I had that sweater, my wife would definitely steal it from me. So,
well, this one's too big for my wife.
That would not stop my wife.
Well, there you go. We got actually a really good show. We got a lot of topics that we're going to go over, some updates in our personal travels and that type of thing. Which when I said there's a lot to talk about, it's probably going to be a 30-minute show because
it's never a 30-minute show.
I know it's not. We love the sound of our own voices. First, we want to welcome YouTube new member Travis Simoniak.
I think so.
I tried my best. For all those out there that haven't subscribed yet, please do on our YouTube channel. You can watch us weekly. Gosh, what do we talk? We talked about there's updates for Big Thunder, Buzz Lightyear. There was a Wall Street Journal article that was much ado about nothing, but everybody's talking about it because what else is there to talk about? A myriad of other little construction updates. And then your trip is like a month from now, but you also have a work trip that you have to talk about. So we're going to talk about that too. So, Phil, where do you want to start this week with all the news?
I'll go through. So Disney released a few details about both Big Thunder Mountain and Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, the new updates that they're currently working on that are going to be opening up this spring. Basically, they talked a lot about for Big Thunder, like the added backstory elements they're giving to it and how all like new effects that are going to go into it tie into that. So, when you're going through, there's going to be a clap of thunder. So it plays into the name of Big Thunder Mountain and stuff like that. But they got into a lot of little details. One thing, I'll be honest, I didn't realize it's all new trains. I just thought they were refurbished trains, but it's being reported that the ride, all the trains are new.
I'm trying to think, like, did I just assume that they were going to be new trains and never really thought about it? I mean, I'm thinking like if there was a new track, it would be new trains unless they like saved some of the shells and put them on the new actual.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But they specified all new trains.
Okay.
They were refreshed audio animatronics throughout the attraction, which is good because there's quite a few that have kind of been a little bit static, haven't as moved as much as they had in the past.
Is that just like repairing like linear actuators on like the goat or something?
Probably
like
some of that
like...
stuff. Returning effects. I know there's the dynamite and the that sort of stuff that's probably going to happen. As mentioned, the rainbow caverns that are going to come to life as the mountain pushes back against our presence. And there's actually going to be gold out on the mountain for the first time ever. So they just, it's interesting because it's going to be great to have the ride refreshed and renewed and all kind of new effects going on. But all the backstory and stuff they go in, it definitely felt like one of those things where it's like the average guest probably isn't going to realize all these backstories.
I mean, a lot of backstory already.
Yeah, and they're just kind of adding to it and stuff like that. So I think it's fun. It's a really, obviously it's a great ride. It's a popular ride. It's getting towards the opening of it. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think it's going to be almost feel like a new ride with all these effects and everything that they're adding to it. So I think that'll be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then also, obviously, the updates to Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. We've known about that. They've talked about the new targets and Buddy, the new figure and stuff like that. But they actually showed a clip. I think both of these updates were for Good Morning America. But they showed a clip of the tunnel scene, which I guess they're calling the hyperspace tunnel, where now, for the first time ever in the ride, Buzz is actually going to appear in the ride, which is kind of interesting. Excellent. That Buzz did not appear in it. But he's going to be battling Zurg in that tunnel scene. But there's actually going to be moving targets projected on that you can actually hit during it. The other thing that I thought was neat was Pixar artists who actually worked on the Toy Story films. The clip I saw was somebody who worked on Toy Story 2 returned to actually do the animations and stuff like that for the ride for that scene. So I thought that was really cool. And she was kind of like, it was nice to return to these characters and stuff like that. So I don't know. Again, both of these updates are coming. It seems like they're pretty major overhauls and almost going to be like new rides. friend of the show, Drew the Disney Dude, just put out a video on kind of these updates and really got into some of the nuts and bolts and the details and kind of hitting on like why it's going to be such big updates. His estimate was sometimes by the first week of April. He doesn't know anything. It's kind of just sort of his best guesses based on where we are with stuff. He thinks we'll get about 2 months notice before the opening date. So that's kind of where he's putting it out. But we'll see. So these are kind of beyond, I guess, kind of the updated animatronics for Frozen. These will be the first big real updates for the year. So,
yeah, I mean, a whole new ride, very exciting, right? It deserves an update because this is kind of like a lame-ish type of ride in the Magic Kingdom. Like it's a lot of fun. You try to get a high score, but like the building really needed some TLC. Yeah. I mean, it looked like somebody's basement in there, right?
Smelled like it too.
Yeah. So what are the construction updates? Spoilers, I suppose, but they're putting up some walls and scrims up on the entrance to get a kind of like a remake. I hope that it doesn't look as like, it's just kind of inset in a little bit. So I hopefully they do something that it looks more inviting. Like, hey, there is an attraction here. Come and check it out, rather than just have the sign just sitting there type of thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I just want the whole inside to look really nice and fresh. So I'm looking forward to it because it's always been like dark and like dank. Is that right?
Yeah,
is that the right
dank's
word?
a really good word. I mean, the carpet felt like old and like somebody's basement, like you said, and stuff. So,
and then when you came through the queue, you know how you kind of like came around the corner to like the loading area, like the wall was all beat up, like the ceiling was just like, it really felt like, I don't know, like regional park almost, the way that the building looked like. So I really hope that I can't see how they couldn't repaint and redo a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, it'll be nice. I think it'll be great to see. I just think the big thing about it is it wasn't like it wasn't popular. It was still like usually decent waits all the time. So it's not like an update they quote unquote had to do.
Yeah.
But like you said, it'll show how fresh it is and new and not as stale. So it'll be nice.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
And then the other story, which we'll see how much detail we get into this. We could probably cover it for 2 minutes or 2 hours. But the Wall Street Journal had an interesting article about sort of the, I guess, conflict or divide between the Imagineers and management at Walt Disney World. It sort of started off with like this positive take on like how, Disney's investing $60 billion in the parks and stuff like that. But it sort of like went back in time to kind of say like, well, why do they have to make up for this? And what happened to like kind of the soft years and stuff like that. And it talked a lot about how I'll kind of summarize my takeaways on it. And then you can maybe add to it, Jason. But like, it seemed like the Imagineers, obviously they were started by Walt Disney, and it was always a separate company until he sold it back to the company. But they almost like operated separately from everybody else and kind of almost felt like the rules of the rest of the company didn't apply to them. They were kind of like the special ops group or something like that. And so they were really focused on creativity and like just doing what they wanted to do and making cool things and stuff like that. And maybe not always following and adhering to the budget if they didn't have to. And management, I think, started over time getting a little frustrated with that. And it really kind of came to a head once Chapek took over and was sort of like, you guys have to like fit to this budget. And
we were talking about this on Discord briefly about like Chapek. Chapek was almost always a numbers guy, right?
Yeah.
He was not a people person. He was not known for his leadership abilities, but he had business acumen. I mean, you don't get to that position without having some of it. But he was a numbers guy, right? So he was a penny pincher. He was not a creative. He was not, I don't want to insult the man, but like, I guess a lot of people don't want to do that, but he wasn't a visionary either. Right. And he was always in the moment. So to me, in this section of the article where they were talking about like budgets and stuff like that, you can really see that. I mean, remember Chapek became the CEO in 2020, but he was, head of parks or experiences or whatever it was called at the time for many years before that as well.
Right. And one thing I found, it seemed like a pivotal moment was with the creation of Shanghai Disney, which, while super successful, it's one of the most popular parks in the world and stuff like that. It came in way over budget from what the original budget was going to be. And it seems like that caused management to sort of lose faith in Imagineering to stay within the budget. And so then when they had these projects, they were like, this is really cool and it's going to cost X. And management was like, well, that's great, but I don't believe it'll cost X. It's going to cost 2X or something like that. Like they didn't kind of trust the Imagineers to deliver with what they said they were going to do. And so they cited a few things that got canceled because of this. There was supposed to be a major Marvel attraction. I don't know if it's the same e-ticket that's now being worked on at Disneyland, but that got canceled. The Imagineers wanted to do and proposed a whole redo of Tomorrowland at Disneyland, which I know has been on kind of the docket many times. But apparently that was kind of like teed up to be done. And again, management didn't think they could deliver within budget, so that got canceled. Another thing they talked about was Smuggler's Run was initially supposed to have 5 missions when it launched instead of the 1, but it was scaled back because things were over budget. And then also things got worse during COVID, and then during the failed move of when they were like they're going to move Imagineering and everything over to Florida, and then that got canceled, and they didn't. And it kind of just it created this big divide. It seems like between Imagineering and the creative sides and management and the rest of the company.
Yeah, I mean, like this is kind of like the prelude of the whole article, right? It's I don't know who this article was written for because Joe Rohde came in and kind of responded to it, and he kind of like, this is not exactly what this is. He kind of had some comments about like, they talked about when Imagineers might like put into a budget for a project and then hope to like sweeten the pot as they go along and add on to it and kind of deceive corporate and stuff like that. Joe Rohde said that never happens because that would just ruin everything. So I don't know who the source is for this, because it sounds like somebody that might be outdated or left the company or like, was one of those that bought a house and then got the rug pulled out under. Not that like, I don't like, I feel for people that way because that's like life altering and terrible that happens, but it definitely doesn't come up out as maybe there is a bit of truth in some of this, but I don't think it's all the truth.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and that term you're talking about was called progressive seduction, where
I couldn't think of it. Yeah,
and it's one thing for like, okay, we honestly wanted to stick within this budget and we can't, so can we have a little bit more budget? It was that they were saying people were going and saying like, I know I'm going to need $100 million. But there's no way they're going to give me that. So I'll say I can do it for 60 million, but I know I'm going to keep adding for another 5 and another 5, and I'll get up to the 100 eventually, and kind of like like you said, deceive management.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, that doesn't happen. I've never seen that. And so, which doesn't mean there wasn't a rogue person who did it here or there, but it seems like maybe whoever put this article together, like you said, found the most like salacious elements to kind of create an interesting article that would capture people. Right. But I think they were just trying to highlight on certain things that led to this divide. But they did also, go ahead, sir.
No, I was going to say, like, I know you're going to start talking about like the turn, right, in the article. So there's 2 halves. There's all this stuff like, bad stuff that happened, failures, whatever, right? All this equally bad things. And I think why are we writing this article? Why is this being written now? Because what you're about to say is more of like a puff piece to what Bruce Vaughn has been doing recently as he has returned, and showcasing some of all the money that they're spending in parks and experiences and cruise line and stuff like that. And I think it's a little bit of like, hey, we didn't do much in the last 5 years, but here's why. Now we're putting all this, like, it's like, I don't know who this article is. I don't know if it's like for Wall Street. I mean, it's the Wall Street Journal, right? That put this out. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if this is like an investor confidence type of article. So like whenever people write these things, I'm like, who asked for this to be written? Who are the sources, and why is it being written right now? So, but I mean, let's think about that as you go forth, and
and I didn't put it in my notes, but you mentioned the cruise line. They did also talk about the Disney Adventure, how that they thought they could redo it. The one they bought, the one for the Asian market, for like $1 billion refurb, and it's costing almost double that and that sort of thing. But yeah, they said things seemed to be improving and moving forward. On the positive turning point seems to be when Bruce Vaughn was brought back into the company, and they had a nice story there where Josh invited him out to lunch or something like that, and he thought he was just going to ask for a little bit of advice or something like that, but instead Josh asked him to come back to the company. Ultimately, now he's running Imagineering again, and the company, as I mentioned, has committed to spend $60 billion. Vaughn has made a number of moves that seem to have improved morale within Imagineering, and one example they talked about is that he's delegating more power to the local parks and the people that are developing things for the parks in the local areas. And he said that during COVID, they couldn't travel over to, say, China to work with them as they were developing Zootopia Land. Mm-hmm. So the local Imagineers and people on the ground had to kind of do more than they normally would have. And it came out great because they kind of were like made it for that market and stuff
Right.
like that. And he saw that as a positive. So he's going to kind of do more of that, which hopefully works out well, right? So that when they're designing things for Florida, it's going to like the people that actually live in Florida are like, well, we need more indoor queues and things like, like things that kind of make sense for Florida.
Well,
They'll be on the ground doing it. So
the good thing about this is, I don't know if it's leadership, but like people are talking about, or have been talking about the Imagineering has lost a lot of the leaders, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but right, people that
they definitely lost a lot of people, and some people I know went over to Universal to work on Epic Universe and stuff like that. So there's definitely been a talent loss.
Yeah. Well, I totally, but like what empowering local teams to do essentially helps create leadership for tomorrow, right? If you delegate responsibility to people who normally wouldn't have had it, that just helps them be better Imagineers later in their career, because now they get the experience of, working on projects in more of a leadership position or decision-making decision, and the more success they have, the better the whole group becomes. Because a lot of these Imagineers travel all over the place working on projects for different parks and stuff like that. So I'm excited by that. It seems like they're running like a legit like engineering firm, like the right way to do things rather than kind of working on the fly on a lot of stuff. So here's hoping that whoever the next CEO is, which is probably Josh, is why he was mentioned in this article, is that we know they don't go through like, we're doing all this work on crews and parks right now, that like in the past they loaded up on Imagineers, and then when the projects died down, they fired half of them, right? It happened after Epcot, it happened after Magic Kingdom, all this other stuff. Hopefully they keep them, because hopefully they realize the parks are bringing the most money in, so that's just going to help them improve things more and more.
And I think that was one of the key points in the article, was just how much the company is reliant on the parks to deliver income and stuff like that. So like you said, it's the Wall Street Journal. So I think that's why they were tying it back to they know they need to invest in there, because that's what's going to give the returns in the future. One last point was, it did also mention that one thing that continues to bother Imagineers is that they do want to create non-IP attractions. They feel like that lets them develop their own stories, and that it's not just adapting something.
Right.
But obviously the management mandate is, it has to have IP, or it's at least much, much more difficult to get something through that doesn't have IP. But it said that Villains Land, because the land itself isn't based on any one IP, like obviously the villains will be in there, but that it actually has a lot of the Imagineers really excited, because it is kind of creating a new custom land that they get to create a story for and stuff like that the villains are just a part of, versus like Encanto area that's just Encanto and that sort of thing. So they tried to leave it kind of on that positive note and things moving forward, and they're reinvesting in the park, and they think the future is bright from that aspect. So I think it tried to put a positive spin on it for investors and stuff like that. I did notice the stock was down today. I don't know if it's just coincidence or not, but it's it's just an interesting time. And whenever these articles come out, that gives you a little bit like kind of under the hood what actually goes on.
A little insight.
Like you said, it's who knows how accurate it is, how sensationalized it is. I'm sure there's at least some truth to what's in here, but I always find it fascinating, the interaction with these creative people and management people and stuff like that.
Who do you think this article was for?
I think it was for investors, and knowing like that they're investing in the parks, and that the management knows what it's for, and probably
building confidence.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if someone from Disney kind of leaked some of it and said like, do this article like this, that sort of thing, whether it was Bob or Josh or who. But we'll see.
Yeah, the one thing that everybody like glommed on was that last statement about like the Imagineers that want to do non-IP attractions, right? The people that are screaming that hate IP. I don't know. My kids all love IP when they go to the park, so I think it's a silly question. But I get why they want to do it. They don't want any restrictions, and they want their creativity to flow. And that's fine if they can come up with. I'm like pro IP, and I'm pro original IP. Like whatever makes a good attraction. It's just when you have Imagineering putting out a story, it's risky because you don't know if it's going to be good or not. Like the whole IP thing, it didn't work out very well for Tiana's Bayou Adventure because the story is extremely weak in that attraction. And when you have to shoehorn something in, it makes things a little bit difficult. But no, I'm excited for Villains Land. I'm excited for Piston Peak because they're all kind of original stories, right? So I thought this was
Yeah, at least for
pretty good.
all of that, and even Encanto and stuff like that, like they're ground up attractions, right? It's
Right.
not forcing an IP into an existing space and stuff like that. So I think
I'm with
they
you
can
there.
at least put their own stamp on it.
Do we need to go into anything like Joe Rohde said? 'Cause he had 2 comments. There was somebody that said they interviewed the author of the article, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion in some of the terms, and he not misquoted, but misinterpreted some of the quotes or
Gotcha.
took them the wrong way. And Joe Rohde basically, he was talking a lot about progressive seduction. He was kind of, I don't know if he was insulted, but he was kind of irritated that somebody would like infer that all Imagineers were deceitful rogues that were like, there's a big battle between Imagineers and corporate.
And I'm not surprised about that, because if you've read anything from Joe Rohde or heard him speak, like he fully is one that gets it. Like you have to fit in with like the parameters that management gives you and stuff like that. And he almost seems to like relish the challenge of that, right? Like,
Sure.
And so I think, and I'm sure a lot of Imagineers are like that. And sure they wish they had an unlimited budget and stuff like that, but I think most of them understand the realities of stuff like that. And so I think he like you said, he didn't want it that they're coming across as like these cowboys that are like doing whatever the heck they want and that sort of thing. So I think he probably did feel like he had to come to their defense a little bit.
I mean, I think Joe Rohde's a pretty good guy, and I think he's going to defend Imagineers and the people he's worked with and the institution that he worked for so long.
Yeah, and he's back as a consultant. That was another thing they pointed out with Bruce Vaughn, is bringing back more of the kind of the old school Imagineers to be consultants and mentors and stuff like that. So,
no, I think it's great. Let's move on to some construction updates. There's a lot of little ones. So here in the Magic Kingdom, just construction walls going up around Pete's Silly Sideshow. Supposedly the permits for like tent maintenance, like just taking out the sun damage to it. So nothing significant. Piston Peak updates. There's a couple of new pictures. You can see them grading out the earth a little bit more. Like, I don't know if it's a final form, if it's just a base layer, but it's like you can see them purposefully grading it. And there was like a stack of wood. I'm assuming they're forms for like concrete pours or something else like that. So maybe they're doing some walkways by Big Thunder. Maybe I don't know exactly what they're doing. I haven't seen pictures of them actually doing anything with them. That was a couple days ago. And then mentioned before, the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin construction walls around the queue entrance. Over in Animal Kingdom, first Bio Reconstruct posted a shot, and then somebody else, I forget who it was, posted a shot from the Run Disney route that they were taking backstage, and it just shows like a up close picture of all the steel in the building for Encanto. It looks pretty significant. I don't know if they're finished, but it kind of looks almost done, right? From a steel form point of view. And
at least like, the outside frame.
Yeah,
like
just the outside. Yeah. People are speculating if it's a 2-story attraction. I would think it is, for the most part. You can always ask Len Testa, because apparently...
Yeah, they teased it definitely at some point. There's an elevation change, whether it's a full... like going up a full story or something like that, but there are some elevation changes to the ride path.
So looking forward to it as it goes. I think they're just going to shell out the building, and then we won't see anything for like a year, because I don't think they'll do anything externally until like the last segment, before they kind of wrap everything up. Also in Expedition Everest, they're doing the load station refurb. I didn't think I actually saw if it was the load or the unload section, or it was both, but there's just some like kind of scrims up behind. I don't know what they're doing, but it's just basically the word was refurbishment. I don't know where did I pull this from? WD Magic had any reason to use refurbishment rather than repairs or maintenance, but it doesn't look significant. The Yeti is not getting fixed. And I think that's all the construction updates. Nothing in Epcot, nothing in the hotels. There's a lot of little minor things that I chose not to put on here. That's just like the average.
And there's always like updated photos and stuff like you mentioned, the hotels, like Lakeshore Lodge continues to move ahead and stuff like that, but it's not like a point of change of anything like that.
I did see on Diz Twitter that somebody was speculating there was a couple rooms that would have great firework views that were like in the corner of the horseshoe type of thing frame of the resort. I thought that would be pretty neat. If I wouldn't know what the view would, but it'd be like way in the distance type of thing, over trees and attractions and stuff like that. But it might be a pretty cool view, something to take a look at as we move forward. Reminder of our social media accounts. If you're not on any of them, you can find us anywhere that you might be using at the DBC Pod. Again, we're continuing to pump out a lot of shorts on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you like those, give us a thumbs up as you're watching. It really helps us out. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the thumbs up, subscribe. Don't hit the bell. We're always out on Tuesdays for the most part, so I don't think you have to be really notified. I always hate those. I always hate, like, why do I want notifications for like a random channel? Like, I'll find your stuff as it comes out. Like, I'm way on the internet way too much. I'll know, but I hate notifications. Anyway, follow us at the DBC Pod. Make sure you hop on Discord and join the conversation. We've got a lot of new people kind of poking around every once in a while. Yeah, that's it. So, okay. So you've got a little work trip coming on, and then you kind of proposed to everybody. You weren't sure what you wanted to do. So what's in your brain? What's happening, Phil?
Yeah. So I got notified that it's not set yet, but I will likely have a trip down to Florida the last week of February to West Palm to meet with a client and that sort of thing. And of course, as soon as you get to Florida, my brain starts going, well, how far is that to Disney? Can I make a trip over? Can I extend it by a day and stuff like that? So it's about a 2.5 hour drive, or I could take the Bright Line depending on how I want to do things. Mm-hmm. But it's certainly doable to like tack on a day at the beginning or end, spend some time over there. I did check into like, should I do a park day or something, or an after hours? While the day hasn't been finalized, it doesn't look like an after hours will work out well. And then even just doing a regular park day, like Epcot's in between festivals, like there's kind of like nothing going on then.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to get motivated to spend $180 or whatever, like a single park day is. So it got me thinking, like, I'm still close enough that I'd like to get over there, but maybe I'll just go over, have kind of the afternoon, evening, and not do a park, but do Disney stuff. And, you know, I've done things before like monorail resort hopping or the Skyline or Disney Springs or something like that. But I thought maybe I'd just kind of throw it out there, get your thoughts, Jason, and could also ask the community and stuff like that. If you had that scenario, you know, my plan is I probably would get there around 12:31 onto property and could have through the evening.
So this is after your work, correct?
So depending, I would either do it. So my plan is I would fly down on Tuesday and do that in Orlando. And then my client meeting would be Wednesday in West Palm.
Okay.
So I would have kind of the chunk of Tuesday before I head down to my work meeting.
So you have Tuesday. Are you coming like basically like where are we doing this? Like because what I would plan on doing is based on, do I have to like worry about getting back to work or doing something for work? Or is it going to be like after you can now relax for like a day and a half type of thing before you go home?
So I guess I could do it after, but I might continue my trip down to Miami to meet with other work stuff and that sort of thing. So my plan right now is to fly in a day early. I wouldn't have any work things until Wednesday.
Wednesday morning?
Probably midday or something like that. I don't know the exact. So some of those details.
You would have to leave in the morning because you have like a 2 or 3 hour drive to get to where you're going.
My thought was either I leave late Tuesday to drive down to West Palm and spend the night there, or I spend the night like at Disney and then drive down Wednesday morning to West Palm. So I would just be that one afternoon, evening.
Okay, so we're just talking in afternoon, right? Yeah. I would probably do. I'm not spending the money on the parks. I think that's too much money. You're just going to be coming back from Paris anyway, so you'll.
I mean, if there's some major reason, like I find out, you know, Big Thunder Mountain and Buzz Lightyear are going to open that week or something, you know, something like that, then I could figure it out. But there wasn't anything that was enough of a draw for me to justify spending the cost.
So what I would probably do is, you know, I'm always a big fan of the monorail, right? Like even if I'm by myself, I would have, you know, plenty of fun just doing a lounge hopping and then just like kind of relax. Like if you get there at 12:30, you pick, you know, I always do contemporary poly Grand Flow, but maybe you do like a hop on the Crescent Lake ones instead. But yeah, like I would pick like a variety of resorts and just like, have you ever done like a Crescent Lake hop before?
So I haven't really done Crescent Lake. That's part of the reason why, like, my standard would be to do the monorail one, like I've done before. Like I go over to Geyser Point and then maybe hop over. I'm interested in checking out the new like app thing for trying to get into Trader Sam's or something like that. But I could do a Crescent Lake thing and spend a little time on the Skyliner or something like that. Maybe go hit up the Topolino's bar or something like that to watch fireworks from there. Like I could try to mix it up. So that's why I was trying to think of like different ideas of maybe things I'm not thinking of, where I'd be perfectly happy doing the monorail crawl and stuff like that. But like, is there something else that I could consider?
I would use this opportunity because it's kind of like a rushed day. Like you don't have like the next day to relax and whatever. I would use this moment in time, unless you even arrive like even a day earlier where you have all day on Tuesday to do something. that I would try to do something I've never done before, just so I can say, like, you can start checking things off your list, right? Like I would use this opportunity. Cause I mean, I think about like, see, I never have work down in Florida that I can kind of escape to, for this, but I'm like, okay, this is my go-to, but like, I need to get out of my comfort zone when it comes to Disney. I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I would probably do like a Crescent Lake. I would do like Yacht and Beach Club and end up with the Riviera and just kind of soak in that type of atmosphere. Maybe ride the Skyliner, get some Disney vibes, and go to Art of Animation for some weird reason or something. I don't know why. Or like Caribbean Beach Resort, whatever, and then come back to the Riviera. Those are all fun things. I mean, there's enough, you spend enough time in some of those resorts where you can kind of get like the nostalgia vibes from like previous trips or something else like that. So I would definitely do like the boardwalk, Yacht and Beach, walk around. Like, have you done a lot of resort hopping in the Crescent Lake area where you've like explored them enough?
We've done like some, but it's kind of been like one-offs. I haven't really gone from one to the other to the other to the other
Right.
type thing. It's been like, we'll hit this one up or we'll hit that one up type thing.
And if the weather's nice, that's what I would do. If the weather is crummy, I'd go back to the monorail because it's just easier, right?
Yeah. That was definitely part of what I was thinking, like weather-wise. Like, obviously, if it's nicer out, Geyser Point's a lot more attractive than if it's not nice and stuff like that. So,
my mother was down for my daughter's birthday this weekend, and we were just kind of reminiscing of our last trip. And we talked about, like, if we were to do another trip, do we do the Disney dining plan again? And I'm like, well, we had a lot of great meals, but like half of them were like, okay, well, we got to do this now. And it's kind of like an impediment to what we wanted to do sometimes. And as much as I would love to go out to dinner every single night, it got tiring, right? So, but we both agreed that like Topolino's was like an amazing restaurant. I love the food. I love being able to go up there, and I just wish the weather was nicer where it wasn't like baking hot, where I can actually sit on the balcony and just have like a beverage and just sit there.
Yeah,
because the view is awesome. So that's where I would probably lean to. But then again, you got Trader Sam's over there with the app. You really want to check that out?
I know. I mean, I could
like,
theoretically do both. Like, I could go over there, like that opens at
you don't
11
do
or
both.
something like that, and then I could head over to Topolino's or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think it'd be just too much, I think, for you. I mean, like you've got 8 hours, 9 hours to do a thing. Like, don't fill it with like, unless you want to do all the transportation and stuff like that. I mean, like if that's something you want to do, that's great. I don't know. I'd probably try to do something I haven't done before. Which is
because there are definitely like lounges like the Allen Compass Lounge and stuff like that I haven't done. So there's things over there that I could hit up that I haven't done before. So maybe that's kind of where I'll lean, just to do something different, and maybe try to end at Topolino's and watch fireworks from there or something like that.
I mean, you could always hop the Skyline over to Hollywood Studios just to get some theme park music vibes and just not go into the park and turn around if you really wanted to. I'm always half tempted to do that. I just love the Skyliner. Like how a lot of people love the monorail and it's spiel. I love the spiel and the
head over to International Gateway and have shed a single tear that I can't go in to Epcot and stuff like that.
I mean, if there was a festival, I would say buy an Epcot ticket.
Well, and it's literally the week in between, because I was like, oh, Festival of the Arts. Oh, no, wait, that just ends. I was like, oh, well, maybe like Flower Garden starts. Nope, that hasn't started yet. It's like the 1 week with like Diet Epcot there. It's just like,
It's crummy. Like Epcot should never have a lapse. Like if in between festivals, they should have something going on or discounted tickets.
I know it should be like half price or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Or half price after 4 or something else.
Something like that. Yeah. If I was actually thinking about that, because we did that when we were down for the Destination D23, that we were eligible for those like after 1, after 4 tickets. If I could get in for $80 or something, I'd consider it. But like when it's a full price ticket, it's
especially for half a day. It's just
it's just hard to justify.
Unless you were a millionaire and it's just like pennies to you. But unfortunately,
we're not like if I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs.
Suddenly Phil becomes a DVC member. He has enough points to stay there for 3 months out of the year and an annual pass. Like if you see Phil in the DVC help section, start asking a lot of questions like, hey, Phil, what happened?
So if you had 5,000 points, where would you stay? Just out of curiosity.
Just out of curiosity. Can I stay there for 3 months in a row? Do I get a discount? What are you talking about, Phil?
So I throw that out there. I mean, obviously there's other options too, like Disney Springs and take the boat up or something like that. But I don't know. Just thought I'd throw it out there in case I'm missing anything. If other people have ideas of what would you do if you had kind of this afternoon at Disney outside of the parks.
Yeah,
What
I
would you
mean,
do?
I think you're only quote unquote trapped because you've got actual work to do the next day. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like you need a little taste. Can't be too happy with the adult beverages because
Yeah.
you kind of have to drive and work the next day. All right, so we're going to go on to our DBC engagement. What are your Disney goals for 2026? And at first, this is probably going to be a shorter segment, but I have some different goals this year, Phil.
Yeah, they
for
kind of came out of nowhere, but hey.
it literally did. Like I've never happened this before. So I'm going to talk about mine because it's lengthy, and then we can go through your goals for 2026. So
Sure.
we talked about this last week on a Monday that there's a whole bunch of new deals coming out for the summer. Apparently, Disney's probably pretty soft for the summer. They came out with a deal for 4 nights and 4 tickets gets you 2 free. So buy 4, get 2. And we talked about it on the show last week. This is kind of going back to the old days of like where park tickets were pretty cheap after 4, that sort of thing. And so the next day, the day I think it was Tuesday, where the deals came out because they came out the next day after we were recording, I believe, right?
I think so.
So I'm playing around with the things, and I'm looking up a deal, and this is like in the afternoon. Wife's home, everybody's home, and I look and I pop in there, and I just put in like from a random day in June. And I know what I was doing. I was writing some of these things into either Discord or somewhere else, looking up some prices, and I'm like, 6 nights with 6 tickets for Animal Kingdom Lodge is, I'm going to say only here, but like it was only like $7,200, right? I'm like, this is a 1-bedroom DVC suite. It has the washer and dryer. It has the full kitchen. It's got its own bedroom, 2 bathrooms. So it's not like the studio, right? Like this is a full 1-bedroom villa. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really good deal. So I just kind of put it on my phone, and my wife's upstairs doing work for grad school. And I just kind of show her the price tag and where it was. She says, oh, that's not bad. I'm like, did I in my head I'm like, did I just get buy-in? Did that just happen? Like I was like half serious, right? Like, that's really early in the season. And then I put in the quick service dining plan, and I put in hoppers, and all in it's about $9,200. And I'm like, that's still a ton of money, right?
Yeah.
But like, and I'm not saying that this is only prices, but rack rate for Animal Kingdom Lodge 1 bedroom is about $800 a night currently right now. That's a lot of money. And that's double the price of what an average Animal Kingdom Lodge Jambo House room with like just like a 2 double beds or a king bed is usually right around $500 or like in the low 4s with discounts and stuff like that, right? So I'm like, all right, this is actually a really good deal because there's not going to be another time where I'll be able to get I'm thinking a full week at Disney at a deluxe resort, because we don't typically stay at deluxe resorts. We stay at the family suites or the fifth sleepers and stuff like that. And I'm like, why not do it? So I booked it. I only put the $200 down, right? This is like maybe 60% chance that we're actually going to go through with it.
Right? All right. Well, it's more than 50 though.
That is 50 because there is like, okay. So now of course, like I said before, 6 nights tickets, 2 for free, 2 free nights. So that's essentially, was it? I think there's like, it's pretty significant value. I forget exactly how much money it was. This is what so if you looked at rack rate for this deal, it's about $10,000 something for the whole thing. And if you put in the 2 night, 2 free, it's literally a $3,000 savings for it. So I'll be like, okay, that's a lot. So we get there. I have it, and then we originally had it set for like, the first week after the kids got out of school, which is mid-June, right? And then I'm talking with like, okay, oh great, I'm going to put this vacation in. Then my boss calls me up and says, oh, we're going to be doing a trade show literally the day that you get back. And I'm like, oh. It's like, well, you don't have to be there initially. I'm like, nah, I kind of have to be there. So I pushed it back 2 days. So I would get home on a Sunday and immediately get home and then fly to Chicago the next day. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, that's going to stink after driving home and then hopping on a plane to do that. So I'm like, all right, but what about pushing it forward? And the price is basically the same if we get in on the 30th and stay through the 4th of July. And I'm like, all right, well, if we're going to do something, why not experience Disney World at the 4th of July, and Disney World the 4th of July and the 250th anniversary of birthday of the country.
Oh yeah, they're going all out, right? They're doing all the special stuff for it. Yeah.
So it's never busy on the 4th of July. This might be incrementally busy with locals and stuff like that, but it's an experience, and I could cross that off the list, right? It's not cost. I think it's costing me $100 more over the course of 6 days for it. So I'm like, okay, so now we're staying through the 30th, July 6th. I have that down. And now I'm thinking, okay, we do our typical arrival the day before, stay at a cheapy hotel outside of the resort, and then go in the next day completely refreshed and ready to do our vacation. But now we've got the water park perk.
Right? All right, yep.
But then we have 6 days worth of tickets. And if we use them, we have to go to the parks every single day, or they're quote unquote wasted, which I don't like going to a park my arrival day. I've done it before. I kind of want to ease into my vacation.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, the tickets are good for about an extra 2 days after your checkout date. Why not do a split stay or look into that to say, okay, let me tack on 2 extra days. This way I have my arrival day and then like 1 day without anything, right?
Yep.
And then we could have a relaxing day or an exploration day, whatever it might be. So I'm like, all right, where should we stay? So I just typed in 2 nights, the 6th and the 7th, checking out the 8th. Where should we go? Now, Phil, what would you do? I'm going to list off some prices, right? So there's no other tickets. This is just this is with the 30% discount. Okay. So 2 extra nights. Wilderness Lodge, $466 per night. Caribbean Beach Resort, $357, and Port Orleans, $318. I am heavily, heavily influenced to stay at the Wilderness Lodge, which is on my bucket list. Wrong time of year, but it's only an extra $200 or $100 a night to go from a CBR to Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, when it's only that incremental price, and it's going to be resort at least one of the days probably is going to be more resort time. I'd be tempted to do that as well, just to enjoy it in the pool and all that sort of stuff.
I priced it out, and I totally forgot when I was about to put down my booking. Like, oh, I got to pay for the first night.
Yeah, when it's a room only. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like $500. I'm like, I don't want to put that on my credit card right now, so I might wait a day or two as I kind of mull it over. But to me, it's like 2 extra nights. I mean, granted, it's another $1,000, right? It's still good money. It's not cheap, but I think I take advantage of it for like the last 2 nights, because you could always do like, okay, we're gonna stay off site, and then like I do not want to go like I'm staying.
But then you still have like parking and everything. And
yeah. Well, I mean, even like staying at the All Stars, as much as I like the All Stars, I would never want to do a split stay where you go from deluxe to value. I'd rather flip it, so at least you end your vacation with some nice stuff.
Well, I was almost wondering if you looked into flipping it, like doing the first part of your trip at, say, CBR, and then the last 2 days at Animal Kingdom or something like that.
The only reason why my wife's bought in, because it's a big room with lots of space, right? She wants the washer and dryer. She wants a separate room. She never wants to do where all 5 of us are shoved into a 5th sleeper with
for
one
the
bathroom.
Time, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because with my now would-be teenage daughter at the time, it's just disaster.
It's just too much, yeah.
All over it. My daughter loves makeup in her hair, like she's a teenage girl now at this point. So, and I offer, it's like, well, there's some other things that we could take a look at, right? So I looked at other alternative pricing, right? So the prices I'm going to give you are just the package. It's the 4+2 with hotel and tickets, non-hopper tickets.
Okay. So I'm comparing this to like the 9,200 for the.
No, I'm going to give you all the prices, specifically the one I booked. So if you just put in 4 nights or the 6 nights, and you get the 4+2, and you haven't modified your package yet, right? It's the first search, right? Okay. So you're looking through everything. So you can stay, and I just found this out, and I might change my reservation. You can do the Kidani or Jumbo House 1-bedroom villa, right? And they're basically equal. One's the Kidani's $72.61 and Jumbo's $71.11, right? So there's a $150 difference between the two.
Does the Jumbo ones have 2 bathrooms? Because I know the Kidani ones do.
The Kidani ones do. I didn't look into Jumbo House.
I thought the Jumbo ones didn't, which is why we always wind up at Kidani. But
yeah, because one's DVC and one's cash.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the layout is, but Jumbo House is the nicer.
Yeah, if they were
hotel.
the same, it's just I think it might be worth it for the second bathroom.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now. There's no layout anymore on these things. 1 bedroom villa. It's a bedroom villa, and all the pictures don't have anything on. I'm like just clicking. I'm literally clicking on the website now. There is a kitchenette. Is there a 2 bed? Maybe there's.
It's only one bathroom, I think.
Oh, there's
from what I'm.
Why is the layout the last one? Yes, it is only one bathroom. So that would be the difference. I guess that costs you $150 a night, or for the duration, I should say, divided by 6. Anyway, Kidani and Jumbo basically the same. I would like to stay at Kidani because it has a better pool. I've never been to the Kidani pool before.
Yes, it's definitely we've done both. It's definitely a better pool.
Yeah,
I mean, not that Jumbo's bad, but Kidani's definitely better.
Jumbo is pretty plain pool, right? Yeah. It's a beautiful trees and everything else around it. Anyway, so our base point is about $7,200. That's just what I say.
Okay.
So you could do Port Orleans Riverside, which is $5,300 in a 5th sleeper. So you're looking at about $1,800 savings. Caribbean Beach is $5,500. So that would be that's our go-to resort when we're looking for inexpensive stays. And that's $1,600 difference or $1,700 difference. So those are the 2 moderates.
Yep.
Boardwalk. Again, these are now cash rooms, so it's not a villa. It's not a 1 bedroom. It's just like 2 queens and a pull down.
Thing. Yep.
So Boardwalk is $6,900. Grand Floridian is $7,600. The Yacht Club is $69,000, and the beach is $7,000. And I believe the Polynesian is roughly the same as Animal Kingdom Lodge, but these are all studio prices.
So not the
Would you change any of those? Anything jump out at you? Be like, I want to stay here versus.
I would. The one that kind of jumps out at me more, just because I've always wanted to stay there, is the Beach Club or Yacht Club.
So that's the question I went to my wife. It's like, this is one that we always want to try out.
And you have you're in there in the summer, Stormalong Bay, and you have the back entrance to Epcot and stuff like that. Like,
I mean, you could walk to Hollywood Studios if you really wanted to. That really intrigues me. My wife's like, what does the room look like? And it's just, 2
it's a regular
pull
room,
down. And she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason because we get all the space and we have the laundry. Because you got to think, my mom covered laundry, the cost of laundry last time. It was a couple $100 to do like 3-4.
Oh yeah, well, like when you're doing a whole bunch, it adds up. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And again, I love Animal Kingdom Lodge. There's definitely cons. We can go back to my old trip report. I'm pretty satisfied with Kidani. It is Resort View. It's not Savannah View. I think there was an option for Savannah View, and it was like an extra $1,000. I'm like, you can see animals if you're walking through the hallway. I don't really care. Even when we stayed on the balcony, it's just like, we're not hanging out.
I mean, it's really nice in the morning when you have your coffee and stuff, but it's.
I'm okay with it. Maybe there's some pixie dust and maybe they swap us out. And then the other concern is when you're in Kidani. Kidani's going through renovations right now. They just finished their first block of renovated rooms over there. I'm curious if this gets pushed us in the older rooms and not the renovated ones. So I don't know. I have no idea if they're like all the ones that are available are the renovated ones and all the ones that are not renovated yet are like out of inventory. So I question for some DVC folks out there. So again, I just did the math again, and right before we started the show, we have the quick service dining plan because again, I'm like, I'm just going to take advantage of everything. And my daughter is, just turned literally today's her 8th birthday, and I'm like, well, she'll eat for free, and I'm going to take advantage of that because to me, the quick service dining plan makes sense only because we order that stuff anyway, and
you got to do the Matt Pato ordering. Get your beers with everything.
I will do that at the resort. Absolutely. 100%, right? 100%. That was, and if adding to the base package that I just mentioned, if I went for the Kidani, it's basically, I think it's like an extra $1,200 or $1,300 for my family for 6 nights, to do the quick service dining plan. So that's 4 adults essentially. So I took advantage of that and I added on hoppers, which is like another $500, like $90 a person type of thing. So, and then lastly, the one thing I realized now that I have all Disney adults in my party is I never have to put all the drop down ages anymore when filling out all the stuff because everybody's now a Disney adult because now I don't have to do that. So it's easier to search for reservations now. So Phil, I went into this year not having a Disney vacation and being perfectly okay with that. And then Disney drops this ticket deal. And I think I always said, anytime they do a ticket deal, I'm going to start thinking about another trip because now it's cost effective.
Yep.
And I'm spending more money than I would normally, but then we also have the opportunity to go to Animal Kingdom Lodge, which I absolutely love. So we'll see if I end up going and I book the Wilderness Lodge trip on that. When can you do you know off the top of your head, now this is not even part of a podcast anymore, when can you cancel a resort only stay without
the resort only one? I think it's only like 2 days before or a week
and you
before
get full refund,
right?
right?
Yeah, and you get a refund.
Without penalty?
Yeah.
So it's only the tickets where it's at 30 days, and then it's like
so,
you
yeah.
lose your deposit if it's within a week or something, right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good. So I could drop in. I don't want to put $500 on my credit card for something, but I'm afraid that I'm going to lose the Wilderness Lodge rates. But those aren't probably going quickly anyway. If I had to think about it. All right, so. What are your Disney goals for 2026? It's not a rogue Disney World trip. I'm thinking.
I probably would be in your shoes if I didn't already have Disneyland Paris booked for about 5 weeks from now. Obviously that's a big goal, and I'm hoping to be there with low crowds, and it's before the whole Frozen area and everything opens up. So I'm obviously it's all new to us, so I'm hoping to be really productive there and get a lot done and have a budget done.
What's the weather supposed to be like in that time in February?
So it can vary. It's roughly similar to New York that time of year. So it could be snowing, but it could also be like 50s and 60s and stuff like that. So we're definitely going to be carrying layers and be prepared and stuff like that. I am like you were saying, you're like 60-40. I think we're like 60-40 on trying to get down there for like a down and back during the holiday season to Walt Disney World, and do at least one party is I think I'm part of one of my goals for the year.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm sad about is if we do this Disney trip in June, July, we're definitely not going to do a 4-day holiday type of thing at the end of the year because hey, granted, if I have a good year at work, I'm like, hey, we're going back to Disney for a long weekend. I don't think anybody will fight me on that one. Right. But that's now like, instead of it being like a 60-70% chance we do a holiday trip, it's now like a 20% chance.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I understand that. And
unless you want to go down for a couple of days, your family and mine, and we can fit into like the 2-bedroom sleeps 12 DVC villa. I wonder if that makes sense financially to do that.
I don't know.
What does it cost for a 2-bedroom 12-person villa?
I think it's a lot. Like it's more than like 2 1-bedrooms, I think.
Okay, never mind that. Cancel that out.
And my last goal is to continue hosting a Disney podcast.
Yes. I am not firing you, and you're not firing me. So that would be good. I saw that. I got a chuckle at that when I was reviewing the show notes this morning. So yes, continue to host a Disney podcast. Well, I mean, we got to get through at least D23 because that's the most fun. And that's another thing. If I go to Disney in July, there's no way I'm going to be able to
go out to California for D23.
No, that's not going to happen either. So anyway,
I'd rather probably cost you more than $7,200.
Probably, yeah. Tickets are $1,000, hotels are $8,000, whatever. Anyway, let's go on to some of the things that the community has said for their plans. Vike Queen said he has a goal that piggybacks on the couples only content that we were talking about last week. They will be empty nesters this year. She's not excited about that, but looking to distract myself with a Disney trip in December to attend both parties in one trip, Jollywood and Mickey's Christmas party. So I wholeheartedly love that idea of like, I was kicking around doing the same thing with my family. We're not doing any of the parks, but we're doing like 2 of the Christmas parties and stuff like that. And that's all we're doing. So I think that would be pretty cool. I like that idea. Mama of 6 had some goals for 2026. One of his goals is to save up enough money to go back to Disney World in December of 2027. So she's got her goals set lined up for the year. But she has some dream come true for her to do a couples only trip someday. We were all talking about the couples type of thing. She also said, this is my compromise year. We were planning to travel to New York City instead of Disney, trying hard to plug my ears to the geopolitical situation. She's coming from Canada.
Yep.
So international travel is always something to actually consider when coming into this country, unfortunately, at this time. But she also started talking about her sister sending her a Google Doc for a sisters only trip. And I'm like, you better do a sisters only trip. And that came into the conversation I was starting having off of that. the vibes of a trip when you're not going with your family is completely different. And I hope that everybody gets their family trips. I hope everybody gets their couples trips, because that's another vibe too. I mean, order of preference or order of importance is get your family trips in, then do a couples only trip. So when you've crossed that off, right? Our trip when we went with Matt and his friend, like going to doing like even down and back with just other like Disney fanatics that like you don't have to plan anything with. It's just like, this is how we doing it. And it's like all accepted that this is how we tour the parks.
And they get it. Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a totally different experience. So if everybody out there has never traveled to Disney with like another person that's like on the forums constantly on Diz Twitter or Discord or anything else like that, find a friend that's like that, or find somebody in Discord that want to go down with and experience the parks with another fanatic, where you don't have to explain. Like, I'm always explaining to my kids, like, oh, this is what this theming is, or doing like guesswork. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, you immediately took care of all the lightning lanes. Like, I'm going to do lightning lanes. There's no fight. I'm like, well, you know what you're doing. So I'm like, I'm not feeling anxious about your decision-making process of lightning lanes. So it all just kind of works out. And it's a lot of fun. So I would suggest going down with a friend or another Disney fanatic where you don't have to do the heavy lifting. Like, everybody just kind of takes their part. I thought that's really great. TL Madden, go back to Disney World. It's been since 2023, and it's longest gap started since going with their kids in 2014. They went to Disneyland Resort in 2024, but the kids are getting older. And he was also talking about like, their kids are kind of aging out of like the kid kind of them into becoming like teenagers. So that kind of changes a lot with how you do your trips. I'm at the beginning of it where like, we're probably never going to be doing kid character meals that much anymore, if at all.
We've gotten lucky that even as my kids get older, they still want to go to Disney. But what we do there definitely has changed.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, it's definitely a different vibe. You're going for the rides and like the kids are going for the nostalgia now.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So it's definitely different. I mean, I think we would do like, we've done so many character meals with the kids growing up. Now with my youngest, now 8, which is ridiculous. Like, the magic of meeting the characters is gone. I mean, well, the magic's not gone, but them thinking that's the real character is like far in the past now. And it's now like, it's cool meeting characters. It's cool remembering. It's all this other stuff, but it's like, where they believe that that's the princess is kind of like, that's, I have to have grandkids now to get that back. Cause there's only like a 4 or 5 year window when that happens. So, we'll do them for nostalgia sake of this time. Lumpy, no 2026 Disney goals for me. I'm thinking thinking about it's traveling, but we met, it was like anything Disney. Yeah. The plan has always been to go on odd years, but my daughter's lacrosse team has a tournament scheduled in Colorado and New Jersey, so that will be his summer. And he's a Disneyland local, so if he ever needs a taste of Disney, he can get there pretty easily. Brett 3-day. My goal was to just use our 1-day hopper when we go for our Christmas party. Got rained out. Hoping to make it in April when we go to Florida. So he's got like 1 day where he can hop in there and get a little taste. I always like how they do it. My mom still has like a 1 day from like when she was got sick on property. Like 2022, I want to say. But like, how are you going to use just one random ticket when she's always there with a package type of thing? So see how that works out. Wheezy always has goals for everything. His goal now is to do this one's really good, and this is something I would do if I retire down to Florida. And like, I know your plans, we talked about them either last week or 2 weeks ago about being snowbirds, being down there and being able to get like a local residence AP. His goal is to do 100 new things at Disney with his girlfriend. And then you have an app called Mouse Life, which tracks like all the different things that you can do. And I'm trying to read through here. The app has everything from quick service to character meets to Magical Express tours to do things at Disney Springs. Currently, right now, he's sitting at 213 of 834 Disney activities on their list. So they're at 26%. And they've chosen to do 100. Do
100 more this year. Yeah. And so far, they've done 3 this year of their 100. So 97 to go.
This was basically the first week of the year.
Yeah.
So, now I told him, like, I think you could just do everything. I have faith in him. Like, I think he can, I think if he really wanted to, he can clear this out. Well, unless there's some like really expensive things.
Yeah. There's probably tours and stuff like that I think adds up. So it's hard to do all those in 1 year, but.
Yep. So that is our show, Phil. Is there anything that we wanted to add on this DB engagement? We don't have a DBC engagement for next week. Shame on us that we didn't think about that. So the DBC engagement is, and I'm going to make this up on the fly, based off of my booking ad hoc, like I did last week, is you have multiple options. This is just be a multiple choice question, Phil. Since all the costs for all the different deluxe resorts are basically the same, they're all within $1,000 of each other. Would you have a preference of staying at the Boardwalk, the Grand Floridian, any of the Animal Kingdom Lodge buildings, Yacht Club, Beach Club, or the Polynesian? Which one would you stay at? And the Kidani Village one is the one where you have a full DBC room. All the other options are your standard studio that sleeps 4 or 5 with beds, and that's it. So that's your DBC question. Boardwalk, Grand Flow, Polynesian, Kidani, Jumbo, Yacht, or Beach Club. Oh, I also want to add in that you could stay at the Contemporary for roughly the same price as well, but that's also like the studio kind of room as well. So if you had your druthers, where would you stay? I'm curious to see where. Actually, let's do this. I'm now changing it completely again. No, I'm not. It's the same thing. We're going to pick the resorts, but I want you to rank your top 3. So this way we have some more stuff to talk about rather than everybody just kind of spamming, I want to stay at the Poly or something else like that. So rank your top 3, and then we'll put them all into a spreadsheet and see which one's the most popular resort. I will list this in Discord so you don't have to remember it from the podcast. So when this comes out tomorrow, throw your vote into Discord or in the comments in YouTube too. We'll tally those up. That being said, Phil, I think we're complete. Yes. Thank you everybody for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.